Okay, time to change motor mounts on TJ's Focus. We'll change the passenger side motor mount first. First we got to remove the reservoir to get at it. And we'll take the weight off of the engine. And then we'll take the motor mount bolts out, first starting with the engine. And then the body mount bolts. And then pop the motor mount out. Now we have to bend the tabs off of the old motor mount. This is on a manual transmission, by the way. I think automatics are a little bit different. And it takes some vice grips to straighten out the flange a bit more once the screwdriver has loosened it, just so we can pass it through there. And keep messing around with it until that flange pops out. And then you got the old mount out. Now it's time to clean things up a little bit and throw the new one in. And then get that tab started in there and then tap it through. Go ahead. Until it's flush. Let's turn it over this way. Take it home. Now we've got to bend that tab over, so we'll get a screwdriver in there behind it. Tap it in there and then slowly bend it over. One way to get that flange bent over real easy is to clamp it down on the workbench so the bottom one is there, and then you can just get a screwdriver in there and wrench it over now, final. Yep, go ahead and bend it down. And if you get it all the way, there's a slot in there, so if you get it all the way down in there, it should bend it down nice and tight. Then we'll hammer it home and be on there nice and tight. Bend that flange over on the end. Now we'll flip it around, clamp it down, and get the other side. All right, clamp down, and now we're going to bend over that final tab. So that one's hammered in and bent over. Make sure it's nice and tight. All right, and get the motor mount back in there. And once the motor mount's in, we'll center it on the bolt holes. And then we'll anti-seize the bolts and get them all in there hand tight. The body bolts will get torqued to 35 foot-pounds. And the engine bolts will get set to 66. We'll set this for 66 foot-pounds for the engine mounts. So that's the right motor mount in for passenger side. Now we'll go on to the rest. So we'll just take the battery out, take the battery box out, and then get at the mount. One bolt on the side and 3 on the bottom. And now we'll pull the battery tray out. And there's the mount. And take the weight off of the transmission mount. So now we'll get the bolts out of it. And we'll pop the old mount out. And the new mount goes in. Just getting some anti-seize on these studs. The outer nut's torqued to 35 foot-pounds, and the inner one is 95 foot-pounds. So I'll clean up in here and then put anti-seize on all the studs for the battery box. All right, we got the battery box cleaned up. Drop it in place, and then put the nuts back on, and then put the battery back in. And then we'll drop the battery in. And so now on to the torque mount. Now we'll roll under the car and get to the torque mount. Right here, 2 bolts. This is also called an anti-roll mount or dog bone. And it is the last mount we have to do, and pretty easy to change that one out. To put the mount in, you go in through the side, the easiest way. Then move the engine back.
That's in.
And both bolts torque down to 35 foot-pounds. And once you have that done, everything is ready to go. Just check and make sure you got everything installed back, and you have new motor mounts in it. And here are the 3 old mounts out of the car. Quick test drive and everything checks out. Now you can now see that nothing is shaking. The car is smooth and idles like new.